I had constantly been a nighttime owl, finding solace within the quiet hours whilst the arena was asleep. The darkness felt comforting, a cocoon that allowed my thoughts to roam freely without the intrusion of daylight hours' distractions. My rental, a comfy but barely dilapidated space at the third ground of an old building, have become my sanctuary for the duration of these hours. It was in the course of one such night that the entirety changed. I was sitting at my desk, illuminated via the gentle glow of my desk lamp, working on a picture design mission for a customer. The silence changed into interrupted best by means of the mild hum of my computer and the occasional creak of the constructing settling. I used to be deep in awareness after I heard it, a smooth, hesitant knock at my door. I peeked at the clock, 2:37 a.m. Frowning, I got up and approached the door cautiously. I wasn't looking forward to each person, and the hour made the knock all the extra unsettling. I peered via the peephole, however noticed nothing. The hallway out of doors became dimly lit, casting lengthy shadows, however revealing nobody. I referred to as out, my voice sounding small inside the silence. There was no response. I stood there for a moment, coronary heart pounding, earlier than finding out to dismiss it as a prank or my imagination. I again to my desk, however the environment had modified. The acquainted consolation of my apartment now felt oppressive, and I could not shake the feeling that I was being watched. The subsequent night time, I was yet again engrossed in my work once I heard the knock once more, soft, hesitant, and unmistakably actual. This time, it changed into 3:15 a.m. I approached the door with growing apprehension and regarded through the peephole. The hallway became empty. I demanded to understand who was there, my voice trembling barely. Silence. I waited, straining to listen any hint of movement, but there was nothing. My hand hovered over the doorknob, a part of me trying to fling the door open and confront whoever turned into gambling this cruel shaggy dog story. However, every other component, the part that listened to the primal instincts of worry, held me back. I stepped lower back from the door, my mind racing. Became a person seeking to scare me? Or become there something greater, sinister at play? I could not ignore the chill that crept down my backbone. I double-checked the locks on my door and home windows before retreating to my bedroom, hoping that sleep could bring some respite. Over the next few days, the knocking persevered, every night a touch later than the final. Whenever, I found not anything when I checked. The shortage of any logical clarification became driving me to the threshold. I confided in my buddy Emma, who counseled installing a protection digicam to capture the offender. It seemed like an excellent idea, and it gave me a feel of control over the scenario. That night time, with the digicam installation and recording, I waited. The knocking came at 4 a.m. this time. My coronary heart raced as I reviewed the pictures. To my horror, the video confirmed the hallway empty as the knocking echoed via my apartment. There was no person there. It was as though the sound itself became an entity. Sleep had become a distant memory as fear and paranoia gripped me. I started leaving lights on, hoping they might thrust back something changed into tormenting me. However, the knocking persevered, developing louder and extra insistent each night time. One night time, after every other bout of knocking, I sat in my residing room, clutching a kitchen knife, determined to confront whatever or whoever become accountable. The minutes stretched into hours, and just as I started to doubt my remedy, I heard a noise, a gentle, almost imperceptible rustling coming from the hallway. I stood up, knife in hand, and moved in the direction of the door. My coronary heart pounded in my chest, each beat echoing in my ears. I flung the door open and stepped into the hallway. It changed into empty, but the air felt charged, as if something unseen became watching me. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed it, a shadow, darker than the relaxation, slipping into the stairwell. My blood ran cold. I wasn't alone. Desperation led me to seek solutions inside the constructing's history. I visited the local library and combed through vintage records and newspapers. It was there, within the dusty files, that I found a point out of my building. Within the 30s, it had been the site of a grotesque homicide. A female named Eleanor had been killed by her jealous lover, who then took his very own lifestyles. It was said that Eleanor's spirit in no way left, certain to the vicinity of her tragic give-up. Armed with this new expertise, I again to my apartment, determined to put an stop to the haunting. That night, I set up the digital camera once more and left a notebook and pen on a desk close to the door, hoping to talk with the spirit. The knocking came again, this time at 4:30 a.m. I waited until it stopped before checking the camera and the pocketbook. The pictures showed nothing unusual, but the pocketbook now contained a single word, scrawled in shaky handwriting. Help! My heart ached for the spirit trapped in torment. I spent the following couple of nights attempting to talk, leaving questions within the pocketbook and receiving quick, determined responses. Eleanor's spirit became indeed the supply of the disturbances, and he or she was pleading for launch. Unsure of a way to help a ghost, I reached out to a nearby paranormal investigator, a female named Claire. She agreed to come back to my condominium and perform a seance to try to speak with Eleanor immediately. The night of the seance, Claire arrived with an array of candles, crystals, and other mystical equipment. We sat in a circle in my dwelling room, the ecosystem heavy with anticipation. Claire started out to chant, her voice low and melodic, calling out to Eleanor. The temperature within the room dropped suddenly, and the candles flickered as though caught in a breeze. A gentle, nearly mournful voice echoed via the space, responding to Claire's calls. Eleanor's presence changed into palpable, a sorrowful power that stuffed the room. Claire asked Eleanor what she wanted. The reaction got here in a whisper, barely audible. "You won't permit me go." Claire asked who, and Eleanor spoke back. "My lover. He continues me right here." The air grew chillier, and a sense of malevolence crammed the room. It became clear that Eleanor's lover changed into still gift, his spirit as tormented and possessive and dying as it were in existence. Claire explained that we had to perform a cleaning ritual to banish the malevolent spirit and loose Eleanor. We accrued sage, salt, and holy water, making ready the condominium for the ritual. The plan was simple: cleanse the gap, banish the darkish spirit, and manual Eleanor to the light. As we started out the ritual, chanting and spreading the sage smoke, the ecosystem grew oppressive. Shadows danced on the partitions, and a low growl echoed through the rental. It felt as though the very walls had been closing in on us. Claire advised me to be robust, reminding me that he ate up worry. We continued, spreading salt throughout the doors and home windows, creating limitations towards the spirit. The growling intensified, and then I should sense a presence closing in on me, suffocating and overwhelming. My vision blurred, and for a moment I saw him, a dark, twisted figure with burning eyes packed with rage and jealousy. Claire commanded the spirit to go away, throwing holy water within the direction of the parent. The parent recoiled, a scream of anger and ache filling the air. The temperature began to rise, and the oppressive weight lifted slightly. I felt Eleanor's presence, a smooth, soothing electricity, as if she was drawing electricity from our efforts. Claire entreated Eleanor to go to the mild and find peace. A vibrant mild crammed the room, and I saw Eleanor, a stunning, airy discern, rising from the shadows. She looked at me, her eyes packed with gratitude, earlier than turning in the direction of the light. The malevolent spirit shrieked one remaining time before dissipating into the darkness. The room fell silent, the air heat, and nevertheless, Eleanor became long past, free of her torment, and the condo felt lighter, as if a superb weight had been lifted. Inside the weeks that accompanied, the knocking ceased, and my condominium again to its former tranquility. I not felt the oppressive presence, and the nights have been another time a time of solace and creativity. I continued my paintings, but now with a renewed feel of cause and a deeper appreciation for the unseen forces that exist in our world. Claire and that I stayed in touch, and that I often discovered myself reflecting at the experience. It had been terrifying and laborious, but it had also been profoundly moving. I had helped a lost soul discover peace, and in doing so, I had confronted my very own fears and emerged stronger. The memory of Eleanor stayed with me, a reminder of the energy of love and the risks of obsession. Her tale changed into a tragic one, but it was also a story of redemption and launch. And as I sat at my desk, running overdue into the nighttime, I felt the experience of calm, understanding that I had made a difference in her lifestyles, and possibly in my own.